Hello, Interior Sports fans. I'm Joe Cook, and I have something special for you today, the Interior Sports Extra. I gathered a group of local sports journalists where we discuss some topics on the local sports scene. Let's get started. I'm joined by an esteemed panel. Jamie Swartzwald, a veteran local sports broadcaster and journalist for Tenanal Valley Television, Mike Ives, sports anchor for Channel 13 KXD, and Danny Martin, sports editor of the Daily News Miner. I'm Joe Cook, sports director at KTVF, and moderator of this discussion. We're going to talk some Yukon Quest, guys, 32nd run of the race. Weather, it's been a big thing. I know it's been pretty cold, so it's a good thing. Has some snowfall as well. I guess, how do you think these weather conditions, especially like this warm out winter we've been having, how do you think that's going to maybe affect the start of the race, those trails out there?
Well, the start of the race, of course, you always got to look at snow conditions. One thing it is starting on the Yukon side, in the trail conditions on that side of the race are generally better. They put a lot more time into their trails on that side. So, and as far as the weather goes, I know the dogs really like the cold weather. They prefer, I think UNEF has told me, they prefer anywhere from 10 to 30 below. So,
oh, man.
Yeah, it just works better for those dogs. That's what they're used to. We'll see once they get on the Alaska side how things go. But I think early on in the race, I think that the Yukon, they take pretty good care of their trails.
Yeah, guys, well, how important are those trails out there to start this race?
Very important, because basically you want to have good solid trails out there. And I think one thing that the Quest puts in consideration is the safety of the mushers.
Yeah, and I remember looking at some of the recent snow conditions. They did say there was some open water around Whitehorse, but like with those trails, I mean, with them trying to maybe redirect, go around. I know in other races they may have like extended the race or shortened the race in some areas. Do you think maybe I know they want the prime conditions for like mushing, but it's like, hey, if we can get a shorter race, maybe scratch off a couple miles. But I think that'll kind of help things out.
Similar to what they did last year, right, where they changed the finish route. It didn't finish right down there in downtown Whitehorse. It finished out there at the hot springs, and it could be a similar situation. These guys are veterans too. When you talk about open water and the dog teams and the musher, they know how to deal with it. They're dealing with overflow on the trail. They're dealing with various conditions that they may have no idea are going to pop up because everything changes so quick. So I think that's one of the testament to the distance mushers is the isolation and the being prepared to handle just about any type of situation they face.
As we talk about the mushers, who do you think is going to win this year? Is Alan Moore going to repeat? What do you think, guys?
Someone else.
Tough. I mean, it's hard to pick against Alan. Back-to-back champion. His team looks really good. He just got a Copper Basin 300 win as well. So the proof is in the pudding with Alan Moore and the SP Kennel dogs. He's definitely a favorite, I would have to say. But this class is stacked. A load of former champions coming back. We even got Lance Mackey back in the push here, and it's always hard to count out Lance. Here's a guy who's shown that he knows how to win races. He's got young dogs this year, I believe, 2-year-old dogs. So he's running a group of rookies. But if you're asking me to pick,
yeah,
I'm gonna go with the guy who ran into some issues late in last year's race. Injury issues, was leading most of last year's Yukon Quest. I'm talking about Brent Sass. He's got the helmet this year.
Yeah.
It's bright yellow and sweet looking, and that's my pick. I think Brent Sass takes the 2015 Quest.
How about you, Danny? Any other favorites or contenders we should know about?
Well, no, I'm going with Alan Moore too, but I'm also saying Lance Mackey and Brent Sass will have top 5 finishes.
Yeah, Jamie, I guess who you leaning towards? Maybe any rookies out there?
Not a rookie, but he was a rookie last year, and I like him this year, Matt Hall from Eagle, Alaska. Hard to go against my buddy UNEF, because Hugh and I are pretty good buddies, but Matt Hall, just an impressive rookie season, and I think he's only getting stronger, and I think he will be the first to come down the Chena River here in Fairbanks.
Well, that sounds good. 26 mushers in this year's field, including 10 rookies as well. So, yeah, that's going to wrap up our Yukon Quest discussion. Again, thanks, guys, for joining me for this discussion. We'll be back right after this short break.
You don't have to wait to ride. Get out and break trail. Fat Tires Winter Fun. Beaver Sports, 3480 College Road.
Back at the round table, and now we're going to go up the hill to UAF. What's going on at the U, fellas? We'll talk about some big news, that happened back in the beginning of the semester, the sanctions that came down from the NCAA. I guess from your guys' viewpoint, how do you think these teams have kind of bounced back, kind of handled that whole situation?
Well, I think basically the coaches told the athletes, okay, there's not going to be any postseason competition for us. So I'm sure they told the athletes, okay, you can sit here and cry, or you can just, pick yourself up and go out there and, and compete the hardest you can and give it your all. Like, for example, with hockey, they said, okay, let's be a spoiler in the WCHA. I'm sure that basketball said the same thing too, make it difficult for Seattle Pacific, make it difficult for Western Washington, Central Washington, Northwest Nazarene. I know the women's basketball team has appealed their sanctions, and also I know swimming has done the same thing too.
When you mentioned the sanctions and the appeal, I know Dr. Gary Gray said they actually sent it off January 20th, so it was officially in. Now they're just waiting to hear back. And you mentioned the women's basketball team, and I guess how have you seen them they did. They went a great start, 12 wins, already matching their most since 2007, I believe. But, they got that appeal, and they're like, hey, we could probably get one of these playoff spots here.
They had the most wins under Coach Bench at the crack of the new year, I believe. So before even the halfway point of the season, they had their best season under Coach Bench.
Yep.
This ladies basketball team is legit. I like the idea that they appealed that to give these girls a chance to play some postseason play because it's a reality. The team was built on depth. They had some star players, your Jordan Wilsons and leaders like Kelly Logue. Both of them are gone now and out for Logue possibly this season. Right. Jordan Wilson's dealing with a broken big toe, which is huge for basketball. Benisa Bolaya has been fantastic with that load on her shoulders.
Too, yeah.
But you can only do so much. This is going to be some proof in the pudding for Coach Bench and see if she can rally this team lacking that depth and still possibly lead them into some postseason play. They have the talent to do it. If they can get healthy at the end of the season, it's going to be an exciting run.
The hockey team, how you see them kind of, maybe build some momentum towards next year?
I think it's an interesting thing with all sports, and especially with hockey. It's always about those little things.
Yeah.
And it makes me a little nervous where we see the recent trend of the Nanack hockey team not really being able to hold on to leads in the third period. And when you're going up against a team that's fighting for their playoff lives or fighting for playoff seeding, I'm not saying these guys aren't trying or the Nanacks aren't giving 100% effort, because I believe you do, but sometimes it's just those little subtle things like, did you get that shot blocked? Did you get that puck cleared? That teams that are hungry for postseason play have. But I don't question the effort. I don't question the coaching staff for having these guys prepared, but it just seems that it's got to be in the back of your mind, right? Like your season's over the end of February regardless.
That's going to do it for our UAF sports discussion. We'll be back after the short break.
If there was ever a tire for people who can't schedule life's road trips around the weather, or who are being counted on to show up no matter what, if there was a tire for people who don't call in sick, don't ask for rain checks, snow checks, or sleep checks, then this would be the tire. And if you happen to be one of these people, then this would be where to find the tires made for you.
American Tire at all. Yes, we can.
And welcome back, and I'm going to put this panel on the spot a little bit. We're going to do some rapid fire questions. We're going to get through as many of these as we can, and we're going to start with some high school sports. All right, who's going to win the MAC conference title for boys?
Hockey?
Basketball.
Basketball, that's tough. West Valley's look good.
Yep.
They've got a star. Daniel Hornbuckle is averaging, 30 points a game.
They're leading scorer in the state right now.
Leading scorer in the state. Hard to pick against someone like that. That said, that last Dog Bowl game I watched was tough, and I'm impressed with the Lathrop Malamutes. Guys like Colt Burner, fantastic. Kobe Titus Milk down low.
So who you got?
I'm leaning Lathrop.
Okay, you got Lathrop. What do you think, Danny?
I'm going with Lathrop too, simply because they're deeper. I mean, Daniel is one of the most outstanding players in the state, maybe even in this region of the, even in the west region of the country. But the thing is, West Valley doesn't have that same depth that they had a year ago. So I've got to go with Lathrop simply for their bench.
And then girls, is it just Ruthie Hubert? Is it her world? We're just living in it?
Pretty much so.
Well, I think you're going to see West Valley and Lathrop both go to the state tournaments. Depending on what their WPI rankings are at the end of the regular season. Lathrop's got a nice core of sophomores. These girls were freshmen last year. They stepped up as sophomores. So I think it's going to be close. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see an overtime MAC girls championship game.
So who you got?
I'm going with West Valley.
I got to pick West Valley too. Like you said, it's Ruthie's world this year. She's a junior. A whole nother year of high school basketball. 6'3". She dominates in the paint. She's a versatile two-way player. She gets outplaced. Really tough defense. You see those arms coming down the court, and that's got to be scary. She dribbles the ball well, shoots the ball well, all-around talent. Ruthie Hebert and the Wolfpack is my pick.
All right.
I got
Jamie,
pack and pack.
Pack.
Pack boys, pack gals.
I'm glad I don't have to choose. All right, we're going to the Aurora Conference now. Of course, Monroe, 3 championships in a row. Barrow, though, they made a statement at the Joe T Classic with that win. You think it's good? They're going to meet again in the championship game now?
I don't know if it's going to be a championship game, but it depends on how the bracket comes out in the state tournament. But I think they will see each other either in a first round game or in the semifinal, possibly a championship game. But the girls is the most interesting thing because you've got a very solid Hutchison program, you've got a very dynamic Valdez program, you've got a very strong Galena program, and you've got the scary program out at Eielson. I mean, Eielson's got some now experienced players.
It's coming up, yeah.
So you got 4 teams that could be in the state tournament and for the 3A state tournament.
So who are you picking for the Aurora Conference girls to get Hutch?
I am going to go with Valdez.
Okay, what do you think, guys?
I was impressed by Barrow. I think Barrow can get it done this year. I think this is their year.
I'll pick it against the hometown Monroe Rams.
Hate to do it.
What are you thinking, Jamie, after digesting all this information?
Well, everybody knows where I went to school, so I'm going Eielson boys, Eielson girls.
Let's go.
Not too sure what their records are, but I'll be a homer on that one. Let's go Ravens.
All right, now we're going to switch over to hockey now. Who's going to come out with the MAC title there?
Hard to argue with the depth of West Valley.
Yeah.
They got guys that can put the puck in the net, and they get some timely goaltending, and they're solid on the D-core, so it's hard for me to argue with the West Valley Wolfpack. So that's my pick.
North Pole's close. They're right there. They're knocking on the door. But as long as the Wolfpack keeps the foot on the gas pedal, they should be able to take care of business.
All right, now Greatland hockey. Monroe doing very well. Delta was undefeated most of the year. Then they got their first loss to Monroe. So could it come down to those 2 teams for the Greatland Conference?
I honestly think it will come down to those 2 teams. A little bit of a down year for the Hutchison Hawks after winning the title last year. Again, you kind of go with the depth, and I like Monroe Catholic there. But Delta is a scrappy hockey team.
I give the nod to the Monroe Catholic Rams because of 2 players, and that's Nathaniel Jankowski in goal. Has been fantastic. He's got one of the coolest goalie painted masks in town, so that's a win. And then he's also really good at his job. And then Dylan Steele, he stands out every time I watch the Rams play, and with that kind of speed, he can help that team dominate and earn themselves a title.
I see a toss-up because, don't forget about the Houston Hawks. They've always been a strong program. Delta Junction is a solid program. Monroe Catholic is a very, very good program. And I also want to give a shout out to probably one of the best players no one's ever heard of, Jordan Sondergaard and Glen Allen. There's not a lot of depth on that team, but this guy is just an incredible player to watch.
Before we go, quick thing on the Ice Dogs right now. Can they repeat?
I believe I believe they can. I think at the beginning of the season, it did not look like a championship roster, but that roster is always fluid when you got general manager Rob Profit pulling the strings, and they've built a contender. I think they'll get into the show, and it'll be crucial if they can get enough regular season wins to get home ice.
I don't think home ice is a possibility, but I think a repeat Robertson Cup championship is a possibility. I mean, you got the band back together when Kevin Aldridge returned, so you got that nice goaltending tandem again. But you've got these amazing forwards. Any of them can just step up, and I think the combination of Jacob Hetz and Jesper Ovo is probably one of the best in the North American Hockey League, if not one of the best in all of junior hockey.
What do you think, Ives? Are we winning back-to-back RoboCups here?
If they can lock down on defense and start shutting teams down a little bit, that's going to be the key, I believe. The offense is there. Defense, once that comes together, we should be hoisting another cup.
Appreciate my panel today. I want to thank Jamie, Mike, and Danny for coming in and talking some interior sports. Thanks, guys.
Anytime.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
Well, we hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back after this short break.
When you need physical therapy, make the right choice. Meet the friendly faces at Adient Orthopedic Physical Therapy. Adient provides the best in post-op orthopedic physical therapy, workers' comp injuries, and sports-related injuries. Adient also provides community outreach programs, supplying athletic trainers to local high schools and sports clubs. All insurance plans are accepted, and appointments are available with or without referral from a physician. Open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 6 p.m.
That's it for the Interior Sports Extra. Thanks for watching. For the full-length version, just go to the KTVF 11 Sports YouTube page. We'll see you next time.